a lot of intellectual humility, because that means you're not operating off of assumptions that the more hands that you shake and the more people you pitch, it's all going to work out okay.
Part of being delusional, right?
You do have to be a little, I hate to use the word delusional. I feel like we need a better word for that. Kind of like certainty. Like there's a book,
this will happen.
Yeah, there's a book in my queue called The Certainty Illusion. I'm really excited to read it, because like right now with tariffs, like I heard last week and all that, people talk about, well, businesses don't have certainty. Nobody has certainty. What they mean is predictability.
Yeah, that's a big difference. Yeah.
Right? They mean predictability. And I feel like delusion is a similar thing, where it's like, it's not that people necessarily need to be delusional. I think the word I would more prefer to see is being tenacious.
Yeah. So we both disagree with the fail fast thing, right? But on the other hand, like, if you do this for 20 years, it might be an indicator you need to find something else to do, right? So how do you balance, how do you reckon some balance, like between failing fast and then not taking too long, right?
Well, you don't have to fail fast to have this thing called success criteria or a confidence interval. I think that in my observation, we've kind of lost track of, I come from supply chain and logistics, Six Sigma, the bell curve, right? I come from a world of systems thinking that's like there is a probabilistic, mathematical bell curve way to assess results qualitatively and quantitatively. And so when I hear people say data-driven and I find out it's like vanity metrics, I'm like, whoa, what about like criteria? Did you set up exit criteria? For example, like you said, how do you know when to go? How do you know when's enough? Those are called exit criteria. A lot of people don't know what those are, how to shape those. Success criteria. How do I know by quarter it's working or it's not working? Where are my levers? Where is risk? What are my risks? What are my known risks? And how do I know those have flagged into issues? How do I mitigate my risk? How do I budget and price or plan in around contingency? These are all things you learn in like program management and like project management institute type stuff. They work. But I noticed that a lot of like folks who kind of might come more from the tech side, investor side, whatever, in startup land, and do not kind of have those frameworks. They or they're kind of like, yay, I'm out of corporate. I don't need those frameworks anymore. That's when you start kind of trying to run off of vibes. And that's when stuff starts kind of becoming all or nothing, when it could have a methodology around it.
Yeah, so like I said earlier, you're one of the judges at my event I'm doing on Wednesday, right? Mm-hmm. And so it's part of Seattle Tech Week. It's called Cavness Seattle's Got Tech. So we have like 16 tech startups like doing the demos, right? Basically like tech trade show, right? And so I think it's like you and four are the judge or five of the judges. Like I really didn't give you any rules, right? I just said like it's tech, but that's decide the best tech, right? So how do you personally like plan on judging these people in case anyone's listening, right? Like what are you gonna do?
Well, I'm going to judge them like a customer. I'm going to judge them like when I was in enterprise IT at Cardinal Health, and they said, hey, go find us something that will whatever for our company, and and see who kind of gets who gets a call back. Okay. Is how I'm thinking of it.
Okay, cool.
Because I ultimately, like, I'm very customer centric and obsessed. It might be because they started me at 19 at Victoria's Secret headquarters in Bath and Body Works. Yeah. And, if you're an old guy named Les Wexner, you have to be customer obsessed to sell bras and panties and lip gloss. But I come back to that because it's like, to me, a lot of this is for naught if there's not somebody who's going to pay you for the thing that you made.
Yeah, exactly. So what's your plan? What's your master plan, right, for yourself? Do you want to be known as like the number one quantum person in the world? Do you want to like start your own VC company? Like, what's your master plan?
I think that's the thing. My master plan doesn't have any point solution like quantum or AI or a tech stack. It very much is. It's very a future forward plan. We are about to inherit a world that demands us to deliver on the promises we made about technology innovation. It will demand it. The climate will demand it. Our aging populations will demand it. Our education systems will demand it. It's kind of going to be like put up or shut up time for a lot of these things that we said we would change the world with. Looking at you too, blockchain.
So will y'all be future focused? Have you already started thinking about what's after quantum?
Oh yeah, well that's what we call it, the convergence era. There's no linear before after. It's the convergence, right? Like cooling systems, next gen data centers, modular energy production, water resource management. One of my favorite things I like to look into is this idea of fluidics, programmable water, fluids, and substrates. What if you don't need to waste water in a data center? What if the water itself had the data?
Oh shit. That's insane.
So that's what I'm saying, like neuromorphic computing, like all these, like the 10 types of computing, the architecture, like it's all happening concurrently. It's not going to be like a let me catch my breath on AI and then quantum. Let me catch my breath on, like what would you call them? I guess more fixed. Well, that's the other thing. There's fixed data centers. There's mobile data centers now. There's terrestrial. There's orbital. There are aquatic data center nodes. It's all happening at once.
So I think it's safe to say you're pretty bullish, pretty positive about tech, right? But is there anything about tech that scares you? That, okay, maybe we don't need to do this.
Anything that scares me about tech is a human problem. It's true. Remember I told you about how man loves to try to make things in our image? Yeah, it's anything that you'd be afraid of the tech, you're actually not afraid of the tech. You're afraid of what, because you know people. That's the thing. It's like I've heard some folks who are even more bullish on AI and things tech, and they'll say things like, why is everybody so afraid? We've seen this movie before. People are afraid of the printing press. They're afraid of the steam, and they're afraid of all these things. And then like, calm down, everybody. And to that I would say it's like, the other thing they say is like, you don't even understand AI, which is fair. Mm-hmm. Like I was saying earlier, people are like, I don't understand quantum. I've come to this conclusion, because that's what fear does, right? Fear is like, fear's not rational. At the same time, I'm kind of like, well, those people aren't afraid of AI because they're concerned about retrieval augmented this versus like agentic that versus small, large. Like, no, people don't need an expertise to be afraid of AI. They're afraid of AI because they see the people and the companies and the nation states and the militaries and the surveillance infrastructures around AI. That's not because they're AI experts and they're afraid of the tech.
Another thing too, like people would say, well, last time I checked, the printing press was not in the Terminator, right?
Yeah.
AI Skynet was in the Terminator, right?
And it was in the Matrix, right?
Yeah.
It was like, right? Like, that gets into like the whole sci-fi dystopia, because now, like, once again, you have a lot of people who are like saying, like, deal with it, and the only framework they have to process this stuff is through sci-fi dystopian entertainment, and not around like empowered education and informed consent and like different applications of these technologies, right? Like I think that's the thing. It's like, if all you give people is blockbuster dystopias to filter this through, what do you expect them to react like?
I know. So you have any like so to talk about the event y'all are doing this week with Seattle Tech Week, the one you talked about?
Yeah, so we have this event called the New Next Gen. Where it's a smaller event. We're kind of just like many Seattle Tech Week events. We're kind of already at max capacity. But this is actually the only quantum industry event on the quantum2025.org calendar in our region. We're excited about that. Not necessarily proud, because we need way more going on up here. There is one other research event, but only industry one. Looking to change that. But this event is, we're going to have like some networking and all that. We have a monthly thing called the Quantum Curio. And so this is our Seattle Tech Week edition of that. It's called the New Next Gen because we're going to get into like all these different types of future technologies that aren't just quantum and are not just enterprise SaaS. And
so y'all do Cascadia, right? How is that? Is Portland the farthest south? Does that go down to Northern California? How far south does a Cascadia go?
Just through Oregon.
Okay, Oregon. Yes. And up to Alaska, I'm guessing?
Yes.
And then east to Idaho?
Yes, and east to Idaho and wherever that line is there in Canada, which, people are still like, they might want to put data centers there, I guess.
I mean, it is cold up there, right?
Yeah.
So what's some metrics for success for y'all?
Well, I would say on the studio side, there's a few. I can't announce all of them, but I'll give you like a few examples. Like one, we are looking to publish a case study around what we call next gen advisory and R&D as a service. We firmly believe that the era of like McKinsey and Bain and even EY, where I used to work, giving you a $50,000 slide deck that gives you like advice, and then you hire them back for however many hours and at this rate, like that model has to change. We're already seeing pressure on that model from DOGE cutting a lot of government contracts. You're also seeing some rightful lampooning of that model with what happened with HBO Max. Remember, they paid the consultants, they said to turn it into Max, and they paid them again, and they said to turn it back to HBO, right? From a next gen perspective, it has to switch to like rapid prototyping. It has to switch to case study. It has to switch to something that validates or debunks, right? Like it has to be something of substance for different companies, institutions, et cetera, to make those advisory services worth their while navigating all this rapid change. So that's going to be one success metric, is us rolling out that framework, that case study around next gen advisory. Another one is, of course, going to be when we're able to close, announce the fund close on the Qubit side and be able to announce like our alpha cohort of folks. That's obviously going to be a pretty big win. We have a few other things that we're doing more globally around normalizing quantum and quantum education and future tech more broadly that I can't quite talk about. But we're also excited to announce like our first kind of list of design partners and some work we're doing around what we call next gen data lake.